everybody hear me okay? Because the chat is working. I want to make sure everything else is too. And let me actually get up and close these blinds. Try to minimize some of the glare that was coming back on my screen. I'm trying to sit in a different spot today. Okay, there is feedback on my headset. Can you guys hear me okay? Because I have my phone on a different piece of furniture from where I'm sitting because I was trying to sit at the kitchen table so I have more room to spread out because it gets very cramped in my room on my desk where I usually get to record anything. So let me know if you guys can hear me okay, please. I want to make sure that didn't somehow cut out the sounds completely because YouTube's just been messing with me. Yesterday when I got off, I was so annoyed because immediately after I end my chat, my computer goes to somebody else that was live, and they had a bazillion people in their chat waiting for them to come on, and I was like, let me just get my butt off YouTube before I spend the rest of the day annoying. So yesterday the chat wasn't working correctly. I did cover if Nene will come back to Bravo or not. But that was basically kind of all we got into. So we're not gonna talk about Brent's health right now because number one, it's something that we would get in trouble for on YouTube anyways, but also because, you know, there are certain times that we don't need to pull on people's energy psychically, and when somebody is trying to recover from a physical ailment, that's when they need their energy the most. So we're going to send healing energy and prayers to Brent, but we're not going to pull on him and talk about his stuff today. So go ahead and drop any of your Nene questions in the chat so we can get into that. Because my kid also has minimum day today, so I can't stay on for too long. And also I did see that Cynthia and Mike announced that they're separating. I did a reading before on here on them. We predicted that they weren't going to be a relationship that worked out, unfortunately. But apparently from all the comments I saw on social media, it was pretty much guaranteed that they weren't going to anyways. Like I said, I haven't watched any of the Real Housewives shows in years, so I didn't see everything that like went down with their relationship being shown on the show to see all the red flags, but people were saying that he caught to the fact that he's cheated in basically every relationship. and that like all his friends were girls or something, and they were all talking about how he's not good in relationships, and he's been married like a bazillion times before this, so I didn't even know who this person was until Cynthia was all over the blogs because she was marrying him. So I had no idea about any of that stuff when I did do the reading on it. So, and I hope everybody's having a good one. I will be back on Saturday morning to do the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills readings because I know there's a lot of stuff that's going down on that franchise right now, especially amongst the sisters. Oh my god, why is my screen going black on my phone like that? Why am I having all of these freaking issues, man? Maybe the universe was like, Bella, you weren't supposed to work that much on stuff this week. Is the chat not working again, guys? This is like annoying as heck. Because it was working fine earlier. Okay, it's working. All right, guys. Well, drop any of your questions that you have about Nene in the chat so that we can start getting into them. And then I guess we'll probably do Cynthia right afterwards. And please put question in front of it too, so that way it stands out so I know it's a question. And stay on topic, please, because we'll go one by one through the girls. And I just wanted to say too, because I know I saw that they were saying that they were gonna do like split up the Real Housewives of New York franchise and do a legacy cast and then like a younger, newer version of people. First of all, I don't know if you guys saw, but they were saying that both Julia Fox and Remy Ma were in talks to be on this like newer version, the younger version or whatever that they were gonna do. I was thinking, what a freaking weird combination of people, because, you know, I don't hate Remy by any means or whatever. I actually could see her being on a Real Housewives show, but I was just imagining those faces that she makes on Love and Hip Hop, like at Julia Fox, and I was just thinking, how in the heck would Remy Ma and Julia Fox even like coexist on a show together? It seems so weird and random. But I was actually thinking they should have done that with Real Housewives of Atlanta, because that's the franchise that really like blew up and became the most popular. And done it because we all know, you know, Candy's basically the reason why Phaedra is not back on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. And so, you know, apparently Bravo likes to do this thing where they always keep like one OG type person as the anchor of each franchise. So if Candy's gonna be that for RHOA, then do a legacy version and bring Nene and Phaedra and Portia back. and Cynthia and let us see, their lives now and how they're all, going about. I thought that would be cooler and more interesting. Let Carlos King produce it. So that was just my opinion of that, but let's see, how close are me and Portia? Okay, the first thing that's coming up as far as Mimi and Portia is that I get them being on good terms, but I don't get that they may have been as close as they are if it hadn't been for the men in their lives. Because there's something about, like, I forget, does anybody put in the comments what Nini's man's name is? Because it, like, completely slips my mind right now, and I don't even want to attempt to, mispronounce anybody's name, or call them the wrong thing on purpose. Because when I give people nicknames, it's purposeful, and they're funny, not, but I don't try to mispronounce people's names. I just, but him and Simon, there's something about the two of them really liking each other a lot, and that's what's kind of kept them hanging out right now. Nene and Portia actually have talked about doing something together, like as far as like their own show, because people have, said like they're the two of the most entertaining on, the franchises and whatnot anyways. But everything that was taking place with Nene, because remember that she said, Andy's evil and he was going behind her back, trying to blackball her from things, which we confirmed yesterday when I pulled on it. Nene is going to go back to anything to do with Bravo, which Spirit said not until Andy Cohen's out of there, but once he is, they'll want to work with Nene again. This is one of those things that Nene was referring to that did get shut down behind the scenes because of Andy. So the thing is that Portia still has a good relationship with Bravo also. So there may be a little bit of a falling out at some point between her and Nene, because I see Nene, coming back around and being like, okay, well, maybe we can go do it on this network, and Portia not wanting to piss off the powers that be at Bravo because she has other things that she wants to do with them, and kind of taking a step back from that and saying, I don't know if I can right now, and it causing some friction between the two of them. But it won't be a humongous blow up in the way that we're used to things going down with Nene. Because the men are going to get involved and put an end to it before it can even pop off into anything else. Because both Nene and Portia have a tendency to get hot when they get annoyed or upset, especially when there's some emotional attachment to it. And I feel both of their, prospective partners being like, okay, this is business, we have to look past that, you can still keep your friendship, and getting them to resolve it. So they are close-ish, but, it's kind of one of those things right now where Spirit's saying it's more about the guys being closer to each other and them keeping the two of them locked into a friendship, and that's why we see them around each other so much. Also, Spirit saying, Nene loves the optics of being kind of like when, she is seen out with Portia and whatnot, because there are some people on the cast that think, oh, well, Nene's had her beef with Bravo, so I'm in a better position than her. And so they kind of think that they're the new queen of things, so to speak. And for Nene, it's like, well, look, I'm still buddy-buddy with people. That didn't stop anything. I don't feel like her and Marlo are in a good place right now.
Okay. Now my phone screen wanted to lock itself. I'm like, what in the heck is going on? Mercury retrograde was let's just remind you that we're still in the shadow phase, I guess. Plus, like I said, it was an Aries full moon. So, do we have any other Nene questions, guys? Because I have a feeling that now my phone is going to do something and kick us off. I'm trying to get as many questions answered as I can during these lives before something happens and it all crashes again. And like I said, I feel so bad because I'm I don't watch these shows, so I have no idea what questions you guys even would have to just pull them out of my butt. So, let me see. Let me just answer Mike and Cynthia and what happens there in case we do get booted off, because I know everybody's going to want to know about that one. So, what happened between Cynthia and Mike? Thank you. Also, make sure you guys like the live too. Okay, first thing that's coming up as far as, Cynthia's underlying feelings. Spirit saying she knew before they even got to the wedding that this was probably something that was not going to work out. But it was almost one of those, I gotta double down, I made my bed, I have to lay in it, I gotta try to prove people wrong. Because Cynthia's got a little bit of a trigger, a chip on her shoulder, a trauma, whatever you want to call it, where, her family didn't want her to marry Peter. They tried to, do some shady shit, hiding the marriage certificate and stuff like that. So when everybody came around trying to tell her about Mike, she felt oh my God, it's that situation again. And I'm so determined that if I am going to take the step to marry somebody again, I don't want it to be, the same type of situation like last time, and it all falls apart. So she kind of got more stuck in the ego part of trying to prove everybody wrong than asking herself, is this something that you really want? So as it got closer and closer to the wedding, it was I'm running from myself and trying not to have to face my truth, which is that this is not something that's going to work out in the long run, and I'm making a big mistake. But families were involved, the whole world was watching, And she'd already spent time trying to prove everybody wrong, that they weren't, right about him in this situation. Within the first month of them being married, Spirit saying she desperately wanted to get out. She's been struggling with herself back and forth for the last couple years over this, and trying to figure out how do I get out of it, when's the appropriate time to do so, all of that. So that's where she is, right, leading up to this whole situation. Mike never stops cheating. There's actually somebody that he's been having a long time affair with that Cynthia was already aware of, concerned about, how it's always, oh, that's just my assistant, that's just my friend, don't worry about her. And it was, okay, I'm going to choose to believe Mike, and then you're already feeling like I made a mistake getting into this situation. You start digging, looking for your way out, and she found it. They're not going to make a public spectacle about it, though, because, again, it looks bad to Cynthia, right? So that's why they put out this statement of nobody's to blame. This is something that we've been, going back and forth on for months. You realize we're better as friends. The whole typical PR shit that they put out to cover up. But there was definitely, you got caught being the same person that everybody warned me that you were. And I made a big mistake and I need to get out of it. So he did cheat, that's it, but it's just, she wasn't really happy with him anyways. Spirit's saying that there wasn't the intelligent and emotional connection with him that she had with Peter, or even with Leon or other men that she's dated in the past. This was more about a physical connection and physical chemistry, and she kind of confused the two, is what Spirit is saying. And now that the dust settles and you actually have to build a life with that person, it's like, we don't have anything in common other than the fact that we know how to blow each other's minds in bed. And shit, everybody was right. I'm not happy. Oh my gosh, this is a messed up situation. So we'll see Cynthia back on TV. I don't feel like it's going to be this next season. Spirit saying she wants to kind of let everything die down anyways, because she feels very embarrassed about the way that this all panned out. So because of that, please put question in front of questions, and I already answered all the Nene and Andy stuff yesterday. But she kind of wants to hide and let all of this sort of calm down and let everything sort of clear up, because there is embarrassment that everybody was right after all about all of that. So that is Cynthia and Mike. He did cheat, but they were already unhappy anyways. Poor Cynthia. So let's look real quick at we see Phaedra become full-time housewife or other So I'm asking if we'll see Phaedra as a full-time housewife on any other franchise. Since she's supposed to be on Dubai as like a guest next season, and then people were saying maybe she'll end up over there, but you know, obviously that she really is using it, you know, to promote other things, and then on top of it, because to her it's like, haha, then Phaedra can't come back. Because she's still mad at Phaedra. She's still holding a grudge, which is such a Taurus thing to do. Tauruses definitely can hold some grudges. Not as badly as a Scorpio, though. But Tauruses are definitely, I mean, not bold, they're stubborn. That's their shadow side energy. Okay, so this is the thing. I don't see her being on the Dubai Housewives full time, but I also Spirit saying that franchise isn't gonna last too long anyways. It's gonna be like Dallas, where it's like it's on for a little bit, but it disappears, you know, and it's put on pause, and everybody's, you know, kind of always talking about, is it ever going to come back or not? And there's going to be all kinds of rumors about them recasting or what they're going to do about it, but there's so many layers and complications to what they can and can't air or do on that show because of, you know, the location and everything that Spirit's saying. It just, they can't have the same kinds of drama that keeps people tuned in to any of the Real Housewives franchises. And on top of it, it's like not everybody's able to relate to them anyways. So I don't see Phaedra being able to save that franchise or that franchise lasting beyond maybe another season or two anyways. We will see Phaedra pop up though on other franchises. And Spirit saying eventually Candy will leave and Phaedra will be brought back into RHOA. So she's not gonna go stand on any other franchise and make things happen for them, but she will end up being back on RHOA at some point. And Candy's really at the tail end of her time on there because she's asking for more and more money each time. And on top of it, more and more people are growing bored with her storylines. And at the end of the day, you know, it's all about ratings and money for these networks. So they're never going to completely be loyal to one person, no matter how much that person may or may not have brought to them. Because that's how it works in Hollywood. The second that, you know, the general public isn't messing with you or it's not making them money, they move on. So Candy's probably got 1 or 2 more seasons on that show out of her as well. So now let's see what's going on with Nene and Hermione. Okay, Naomi is his name. I wanted to make sure I said that right. Okay, first thing that's coming up is neither one of them was completely single when they got with each other. Both of them still had their previous situations going on. They've known each other for a lot longer than people realize that they have either, is what Spirit's saying. It's like they've known each other or been aware of each other or other people in the way. And both of them were aware that those current situations were coming to an end. Obviously, we all know what happened with Greg. And then, with him, I don't know who he was with, but he was with somebody and he's no longer with them. Nini's not in a rush to remarry. Number one, not only because, you know, obviously it wouldn't look great, because I do feel Nini being aware that there are certain optics, you know, that don't play out well for her because Greg was so beloved and there was already enough people questioning how could you be with somebody so quickly after this. But also it's like, okay, if we get married, then that really like refreshes everybody's memory. I don't see them getting married anyways. She's happy with the way that things are. But there's something about that she doesn't, you know, even though as strange as it may sound, seeing as that neither one of them was going about things in the traditional way that we would hope people would when they're starting a relationship. But there's something here about, it's like, I can't entirely trust you because you left somebody else to be with me. And I don't trust that you wouldn't do the same thing to me. So I'm just gonna kind of like leave things the way that they are because they're good this way. And then if you do turn out to not be the honest person that I'm scared that you are, my financial future, all this stuff isn't tied to that. Because it is coming up about Nini feeling like she has to protect what she has built and what she has, and not wanting that to be compromised by marrying the wrong person. But he does pay for a lot of her bills too. I don't know how he has his money, but he's also helping out financially with her. I know some people may have thought otherwise, but Spirit's saying it's the opposite, that Nini is the one that's getting financial assistance more out of this relationship right now. So. Remember to put question in front of your questions, guys. So let's see what Spirit has to say about Kenya, because I know her and Mark are still going through their divorce. I'm just going off of shit I remembered since the live is messed up again, and then the comments that are coming through are not following the rules. Okay, Eunice, I just said please put question in front of things, and yesterday twice and today I've said we're not talking about anybody's physical health. It's against the YouTube terms of service. On top of it, we don't need to ask about everything psychically. Some stuff's not our business. We don't pull on people's energy. We just wish them the best and send prayers. but put question in front of the questions, guys, because I am going to have to get off of here in half an hour. I had to turn off my headset, Prairie, because it was causing feedback. My YouTube's been messing up my lives. I don't know. I answered all of Nini's Andy career future Bravo stuff yesterday, so I'm not re-answering things I've already answered. Okay. Okay, I have a question since I don't watch this show. Why does Mark have such a chip on his shoulder and so hateful and vengeful towards Kenya? Because it's showing up in the cards as he's gonna continue to try to drag his feet and throw whatever complications he can her way. Not only with the divorce, but it's like as soon as that's settled, we're gonna see this man constantly dragging her to court over child stuff. Oh, I don't think I should have to pay for the baby's ballet shoes. To I want to have her more and Kenya's not letting me. And Spirit's saying it's like he really is just a narcissist that wants to punish Kenya, and he's gonna do whatever he can to make that happen. And you know, it's like, okay, I know I didn't want to stay married to you, but I just want to keep the divorce going as long as I can, because that's gonna piss you off and make your life harder. Kenya's gonna end up having to pay this man a little bit of money to finally make everything just like move on and go away. Just because she's gonna get to a point where she is so fed up with this shit that it's like, I will give you whatever the hell you want so I don't have to be married to you anymore. I just want this to be over. He doesn't have the money that everybody thinks he does either. He saw and continues to see Kenya as almost like a bank account for him, and he can, you know, take her back to court and withdraw whenever his money gets low. Oh, I'm gonna go take Kenya to court and ask for child support now. Oh, now I want to fight and say that I have part of the house. Now I want to fight her and say this and that. So man, Kenya, I feel bad for you. You got a beautiful baby out of this, but with the worst person that's gonna keep trying to do whatever they can to hurt you. You know what though? Kenya's ancestors have somebody that they want her to be with, but she still needs some healing to do. We're gonna see her date a slightly younger guy for a little bit, but it really is like a total rebound type situation. Unfortunately, I do see her getting her feelings hurt a bit in this, but it's gonna spur her to finally really take ownership of who she is and her healing and move forward and grow from it. And after that comes her actual real Prince Charming soulmate, whatever you want to call it. So she still has a few years, but she is gonna get her person, which is good. And we'll see Kenya's continue to stay on the show. And Spirit saying her brand is going to continue to grow too. Like, money's never a problem for Kenya. It never has been in this life, and it probably never will be. It's Spirit saying, you know, she came in with a lot of karmic family ties to heal. And so relationship stuff was always going to be more of her struggle. Okay. So let's take a look at Portia and Simon and see where they are. So if you guys have questions that are not about Nini's son's health or her relationship with Andy or Bravo, you know, about any of the housewives, drop them down in the chat. Put question in front of it, please. Because I am going to have to go in about 15 minutes. I'll be back on Friday night for our regular live and Saturday morning at 11 a.m. to do the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I will be back in the mornings throughout the rest of the month, so any stuff that doing more housewives readings, so hopefully things work better. And we'll get to anything that we didn't get to this time, but I will be off tomorrow because it is my birthday. So has Portia said anything about her and Simon having a kid together? Because I do get their not only being, you know, obviously the melding of both of their kids and families into one, because they both have kids already, but them wanting to have a child of their own. Specifically, Portia really wants a little boy. But I do see there being a little bit of complications around that and most likely needing outside help, possibly even a surrogate for this to happen. Portia's gonna take it really hard if that's, you know, how things end up going. Because she's really always wanted another kid. And even though I know people think like she's super like, you know, shallow and wouldn't want to mess up her body or all of that, she loves the idea of like carrying the baby herself and bonding. And so that's going to be really hard for her if she doesn't get the opportunity to do that. But there is a kid coming for them. They're in a much better place than they were before because Simon just could not take the ratchet that show that they did and the way that things went down. And so he's really been on Portia about rehabbing her public behavior. I've said this before. I guarantee you Simon got a shit ton of calls after those shows aired from family being like, we don't care how much money you're making or how famous this makes you, like it makes us look bad. And that's being confirmed in here that he got an earful from people around him. And it was like, okay, my family is not going to accept us in this whole relationship if you don't button up. Also, he was worried about it affecting him financially because he had some business deals he was trying to close. But Simon and Portia are doing okay right now. I mean, this still won't be the relationship that lasts forever, but at this current moment, they're doing better than they were before. I still don't get any marriage cards though. I feel like this is like gonna be a dragged out engagement. that eventually ends. They'll have a baby and that'll put the wedding back. It's like there's always something happening that pushes the wedding back. But it's almost like convenient. Works out conveniently for Portia, because I don't get that Portia is really like super focused on actually marrying him. It's like, I'm already having fun. I don't care about the actual like marriage certificate and all of that. I want a baby. I want to do other things first. I think honestly, she's got the Cynthia in her, where it's like deep down inside, you know, at some point this relationship's gonna end. I'm gonna ride it till the wheels fall off to prove everybody a point and to myself and to get what I can out of it. You know, obviously Portia's got that side to her, but I already know since it's not gonna last, you know, I'm gonna drag my feet on making it real serious. Spirit, Eunice Spirit said, sorry. Eunice asked, does Simon regret what he did to Fallon? Does he want her back? To be honest with you, Spirit said that Simon doesn't even really think about Fallon. He's moved on from all of that. And I don't get that Simon's wasn't really somebody who like stresses out so much about like, oh, I might have hurt somebody's feelings, that he would have regret. Usually, you know, people don't have regret until karma comes back to slap them hard across the face, and then that's when they want to regret what they did to people. But not when you move on to something that you think is better and you're living, you know, the higher life like that. And the same goes for Portia. She doesn't regret anything right now because, you know, right now they're traveling, they're living life, they're going out with Nene and Naomi, you know, they're doing things and they're not, they haven't gotten to the point of, okay, I'm really unhappy, maybe I messed up over here and I shouldn't have done that. So Spirit said no. Fallon doesn't want to go back to all of that. And honestly, Spirit saying, you know, she was on the show and she didn't wow the producers because Fallon's, you know, they can only have like the I'm not going to be dramatic people, like so many of them on any given franchise, and then people get bored with them, you know, like Teddy Mellencamp. Like she wasn't a huge outgoing personality, so those are the people that you want to be friends with in real life, but they don't make for the most entertaining TV. Let's see, how are Portia and Jenna's Spirit? Thank you. And after this, I can answer one or two more questions, so drop them down because I have to get off at 11 my time. I was gonna say, if anybody's still worried about an ex, it would be Portia and Dennis, because I don't get that it's not only just like, oh, maybe like I still had some residual feelings for you when it comes to Portia. I always felt like there was an ego side to that too, of oh, you know, I'm way prettier than I thought, like the girls that you're used to typically are, and because of that, you know, you had the nerve to like act like I was regular. So there is an anger in I should have just been treated better and you should have been worshiping the ground that I walked on because look at who I am versus who you are situation. Which is why you shouldn't just date somebody that you think is unattractive just because you think, oh, well, they'll worship the ground that I walk on. You should date people that you actually like. So as of right now, there's no like need for them to go to court to try to fight over custody of Pilar. Dennis never wanted things to get crazy the way that they were with that whole you know, spinoff show and everything that was going on in the first place. Because it's like, to Dennis, he understood I'm not the type of person that can give Portia exactly what she wants right now. I tried. We're two different people, but we both love the heck out of this little girl, and as long as we're both doing our job parenting, that's what matters most. So Dennis was just like, okay, if somebody else can make you happy, Portia, then I'm happy for you. But like, why does it have to come at you trying to cause drama with me for TV? Like, just go move on with your life and go be happy with that guy then, and let me see my kid when I'm supposed to. And right now, what Spirit's saying is, Simon actually stepped in and set everything right between Portia and Dennis and was just like, Pilar is what matters, stop the nonsense. Because I know Simon gets a bad rap, and listen, I don't kiss his butt, I don't care about him either way. But there are certain things where it's just like, to him, okay, when I have to start going through the drama and it's not on TV and we're not even getting paid for it, what's the freaking point? And that's where he puts his foot down. And so Spirit said, again, in this situation, it's like Simon is like the mediator and he's the one that got everybody to get along again. So right now, they're okay. Portia still has a chip on her shoulder and a hole in her heart from what Dennis did to her. She isn't over it. So she'll get over it when she chooses to get over it, is what Spirit's saying, because they're like, she's choosing to hold on to this at this point. You know, not that, okay, nobody's saying it's okay for anybody to cheat on somebody, especially when you're pregnant, but you have to get over it. At some point it happens. She's still holding on to that, and she's still gonna always find ways to throw shade at Dennis or make things a little harder for him when she can. And Dennis realizes that, and to him it's just like, as long as it's not at the expense of our child, I don't care. I see what you're doing, Portia. You're immature. Like, I get it, whatever. Like, I'll take it if I have to, as long as Pilar's good. So, right now, they're co-parenting fine. You know, she still throws her little pigs at him. He laughs, keeps it moving. So, but again, Spirit saying, this is for now. If Portia gets back on TV and the producers tell her, you know, we need a story, and Simon's like, we're not fighting with my family, then it's like, okay, let me go fight with Dennis again, so that way we have something to talk about. And Dennis doesn't trust her because of that. So he's always sort of like waiting for Portia to throw it in his face again or start more shit with him again if she can. Or if she feels the need to. So, you know what? there are some people out here that I know, myself included, that it's like, we were married once, and because of that, we've been real freaking careful going forwards, because it's like, divorce is not fun. Nobody wants to go through that if they can avoid it. And then there's some people out here that I'm just like, how are you getting married for the 7th time? Just be boyfriend and girlfriend with people. Like, do you love divorce court? Do you have a crush on the judge? Like, what is this? Because you think it would make people nervous. Like, I don't want to go through that again, especially after the 2nd or 3rd time. You really, like, should be not wanting to just jump to go get married so quickly. So, anyways, guys, I'm sorry that YouTube keeps messing up. I have no idea why it's doing this to me. It was working fine because me and my friend were, like, playing with it last night. Which is probably also why the algorithm hates me right now, because I was doing a live for an hour with just one other person on private, trying to make sure that everything was working. But hopefully Friday night it works fine for our regular Friday live. And then, like I said, I will be back on Saturday morning. This was just supposed to be an extra thing anyways, since I was not talking to clients this week. But if you did want to get on my schedule, there's only a few appointments left for the end of the month anyways. It's psychicbellalove.com. I will be off tomorrow because it is my birthday. So I hope that everybody has a good one, and thank you to those of you who tried to get through this and make it work with me. I appreciate it. So, anyways, guys, I love you. I have to go. Like I said, hopefully everything works next time. Bye.